Hey, this is the old gaming geezer. Welcome along to another episode of the Indeterminate stuff. And I'm playing some Kerbal Space Program. And the ship you see here is a ship I have designed to go out to the moon and do science. Collect lots and lots of science. And it is going to mine Kethane while it's out there to keep it in fuel. So that's my plan, and here it is in orbit around Kerman, and it's about to do its mooner launch. There we go, and it's now burning its way towards the moon. And inside the ship we have Bill Kerman, and he's going to test out our whole new Kethane system. And well, we've never used Kethane before, so I figure Bill's going to have to get out and take a look at the ship and make sure it's all going there. We've got a Science Junior. We've got some goo containers. There is our Kethane tank and our Kethane a refinery, and also we've got a couple of Kethane drills there. There's another goo container, and we're coming around, and it's all looking really, really nice. And Bill messes up and goes flying off, and he does it again. Okay, I was having a little trouble here, and I wasn't sure what the hell was going on, so I extended the ladder so that Bill, at least he could grab onto the ladder. And then I remembered you could actually change the view while you're EVAing. Well, you know, I am not the greatest player at this game. So, Bill is there spinning the ship around, getting a nice look, and here we are on our Mooner transit orbit, and here we are. We're now into the moon's sphere of influence, and we are doing our maneuver node to slow us down to bring us into orbit around the moon. And there he is, coming into orbit around the moon. And as usual, we spin around, and we're going to do a little time acceleration. This whole thing is a time acceleration, 4 times time acceleration, because it, you know, if you've played Kerbal Space Program, you know that it takes a long time. And so here he is. He's coming in. Bill is going to do his capture burn now. And he's coming around. He's going to be mostly on the dark side of the moon, I think, or close to it. No, he's going to be on the horizon. There he is, doing his capture burn now. All looking good. And Bill is now officially in orbit around the moon. And so now we have to decide where we're going to land, and I have a spot there, actually close to where I landed before, but just south of that is a new biome, and there's some Kethane there. So I need to bring the ship around and slow myself down, but I need to figure out how much time I need to do this burn. So we do a quick test burn. You see that, well, I can't actually see on my preview window, but anyway, I do the burn, and I'm beginning to slow down. And my orbit is dropping. I bring up my Kerbal Engineer readout to see how high I am above the surface. And I see that I'm coming down in close to the Kethane deposits that I need to get to. Now, at this stage, I'm not quite where I want to be yet, but I'm about to hit the side of that crater. So I burn like crazy and just barely get over the top. So that was a little bit of excitement. And, well, you know, it's all part of the job when you're Bill Kerman. Kerbanaut extraordinaire, master of his craft, the greatest, one of the greatest. And so we're coming down, slowly bringing our ship down, dropping our speed, going straight down. I'm going to drop this down quite lightly, because I don't know if you know this, landing is quite hard. You see our lights below us, and there's our shadow getting closer and closer to us. But Bill's at the controls, and he's an old hat at this now, so I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing. And he drops it down, a little bit of a stutter, and he's down. And we are down on the surface of the moon, and let's get those drills out. So this is the first Kethane drilling ship I have ever built, so I didn't know if this is going to work, but luckily enough, it is working, and Kethane is building up, and I really don't have enough power here. But you know what? It's going to be fun. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. So there it is, drilling its Kethane on the harsh surface of the dark, dark moon. Moon. And so we convert our Kethane into precious fuel and precious oxidizer. And we get drilling again because we haven't filled everything up. So we need to get doing that So then we got full oxidizer, full fuel, and at this point we're turning everything off. And it's time to do some science. Well, actually did science off camera, and there's Bill getting out to collect all the science from all the science containers. He's going to go out and he's going to plant a flag. Well, he's going to do some science first. And so Bill plants a flag, and he types, Bill at the Mooner, Bill at the Mooner Midlands. So this is just to remind ourselves where we've been. And Bill does it. Bill does it? Bill does it again. Oh, Bill, you good thing. So Bill poses for a nice photo with his ship behind him, as you do when you're Bill Kerman. And he gets back into his ship, and he is going to get all his stuff in the ship. Well, I had 2 goo container things there. So he does an EVA report, and he jumps back in the ship. And there we go. We have our first thing. Now, here is the lab, which is in Kerbin orbit, and it's got to get out now to the moon. So the lab is setting up our maneuver nodes with our 2 boys. 2 boys on board. Not real Kerbinauts. They're not real Kerbin heroes like Bill, Jeb, and Bob. Forgot his name. This is Nell. Oh, I can't remember their names. I'll remember in a minute. And they're on their way out to the moon in this robotic ship. They have no control over the ship. They're just in the little lab there. And they are, they've got to go out and they've got to process the science so that we can continue to collect science without having to come back to Kerbin every single time. And so that is the plan, and we're making our way out to the moon. And as you can see, the maneuver nodes, the trajectories are jumping around like crazy. So I'm trying to figure out how to keep all this in check. And so we're now approaching the moon. And hopefully, after that quick... and it went again. I was going to say, after that quick course correction, hopefully our orbit will be stable. And let's hope it is. So we're on our way out to the moon. We get these guys into a nice semi-low orbit around the moon. And get close in, because I wasn't actually that close to the moon. Let's just do another minor course correction to get our orbit low. I don't know why I decided not to use the maneuver node there, but I did. So now, got a nice low, trying to get in around the 30-kilometer range. And we are now set up our maneuver node to get us in a nice circular orbit over the moon. Line up with our burn node. Set an alarm clock with a wonderful, wonderful Kerbal alarm clock, which, to be honest, if you've got more than one flight going on, Kerbal alarm clock is just the way to go, because you're going to miss stuff, and alarm clock is just brilliant. Also, it's a handy tool as if you're fast forwarding. If you set up an alarm for when your next maneuver is, it'll automatically stop fast forwarding and pause the game, so you don't miss it. So back here on the moon, Bill gets up and he's heading back into orbit now, and he's going to try and rendezvous with the lab, so with the 2 boys in the lab, and see if we can get this all sorted out. And he's in a terrible orbit, but he's going to have to do it. You're going to see me messing around with maneuver nodes here, trying to get a good rendezvous. Rendezvous is not my strong suit. I generally have to screw around with it and try and make it work, and try and manly my orbits together. I'm just not really able for it. Once I get close, I can dock, no problem. But getting close is I find very difficult to do. I used to use Mechanical Jebediah, to rendezvous, and I learned a lot watching the way it did it, but quite frankly, I don't use mech ship anymore because, well, to be honest, the main advantage that I got out of mech ship is it taught me how to actually do the stuff myself when I wasn't able to do it. I wasn't able to dock, I wasn't able to rendezvous, I wasn't even able to launch. But I don't need it anymore. So here is Bill. He's coming in to dock with the lab. And unfortunately, we're docking at night. But luckily, we've got lights on our ship, so... he's coming in bottom first because the docking port is out the back of the ship. And there he is. He's docked. All docked. And now we're going to get these guys to process all of the... Sorry, to clean all of the experiment bays so that we're ready to go back again and do it one more time. That's the plan, and that's what we're going to be doing. I'm just checking everything to make sure it's all okay. So back on the moon now. Bill is doing some more drilling. He's doing some more science. He's doing all the things. He's filling up his kethane tank, and he's basically trying to max out as much science as he can. Now, at this point, my trip back up to the station to Obner and Nelvis, I remember their names now, it took a little bit more fuel than I was anticipating. And I'm kind of worried that if I do a large, plane change maneuver to get to like the poles, for example, I'm kind of worried that I'm going to use way too much fuel, and I have to see what's going on there now, and how this is going to, and how I'm going to work this out as Bill plants a flag on the Lunar Midlands. Good old Bill. So I'm worried now. At this point, I'm worried about the ship and how it's performing. It's not performing the way I planned. It's just using way too much fuel. I was hoping that I could just get a hell of a lot more out of this ship than what I've been getting. But you know what? I think we're going to continue. We're going to continue and see how we get on with the next mission, with our next location. As we take off and head back up. And we're burning fuel at a ferocious rate, although we do have a full kethane tank. We can refill our tanks once we get up. That's a beautiful shot. And here we are coming back. Again, another night docking. Sorry about that, guys. It's just how it happened. So, Nelvis and Obner. Oh, I can't even remember their names anymore. I'm sure they're happy to see Bill coming back in with some more sweet science for them to process. They're getting ready to clean out his material bays. And we're docked. And we're on the night side. So, they begin the cleanup process. That's going to take a few minutes. Meanwhile, I'm checking out what our resources are like at the moment. And so now, here comes Bob. Bob I send up in another ship. This ship I actually designed to actually do the science on the moon. But I figure I may as well send a ship up to actually take some science back. And Bob is going to come along and he's going to dock with the lab. And he's going to wait until Bill does a few trips. Then he's going to take some of the science back and I can unlock some more stuff. As I said, this ship, I'm using those nice little B9 lights, the little coloured lights, and I think they look great. It's green and red, and they just come out orange, and it's great. It looks lovely. So, Bob is bringing his ship in closer, and he's going to come in and dock. And again, it's another nighttime docking. I'm sorry. But he's coming in. He's coming in to dock, and there's Bill and the other ship on the other side. So, Bob is docked, and we're together. So, it's all looking good now. Bill and Bob together with Nelvis and Obner. And I'm spinning the station and I have no idea why. But, this was a few days ago when I actually recorded this. Actually, 2 weeks ago, my God. Okay. So, Bill gets out and he takes all the science and does a quick EVA across to Bob. And it looks great coming through the ship like that. Love it. Love it. So, Bill is coming over to Bob's capsule, and he's going to attach on. He's going to dump off all his science into Bob's capsule, and then he's going to go back to his ship. And if he managed to actually grab onto Bob's capsule, of course, because Bill, as we learned earlier tonight, is not the greatest when it comes to EVAing. So he dumps off all the science in Bob's capsule, and he heads back to his own ship. Oh, right past the spout of that rocket. That's a big poodle engine. The poodle. Poodle. We should have a Rottweiler engine to go with it, I think. Don't you think? Who knows? Right, so Bill gets back in the ship. He's getting ready to go again. So now we're going to look at the Final Frontier mod, which tracks the missions of all of your Kerbins. And as you can see, Bill and Jebediah are pretty much leading the pack here with the most mission patches. Well, they're the guys that have been in space for more than any. Bill there's done one mission and one docking operation. I don't think that's right somehow. Well, it is an early build of this mod, but it's working pretty well. I really like it. I really like the way that we can track what our guys have done. Unfortunately, I can't read those on my preview screen, so I don't know what they've done. And there's Jebediah's badges. Of course, Jebediah has got way more badges than Bob, because, well, he's Jebediah and he's like the golden boy. Every time somebody sticks a rocket out on the launch pad, Jebediah just goes running straight out for it. He's always the first one in line for every single mission, and he's done it all. He's usually the first to do things as well. Hopefully, he will stay that way. And so, Bill detaches from the station, and at this point I'm going to test my theory about my fuel situation, whether this ship has the Delta V that it really requires for this mission. So I'm going to the polls, do or die, that's what I say. So Bill activates his engines and he fires them, and off he goes. No guts, no glory. He's going to go to the polls. He's going to burn a fuckload of fuel to get there. And when he gets there, he's going to have to mine Kethane like crazy. So as he's coming down to land, everything's looking good. And it looks to me like he's about to land on a slope, which is not good because it's so dark. And we lose it. We've fallen over, and we're slowly sliding down the side of that hill. Bill is trying to turn the ship around so he can swing it back over, but it just wants to keep going nose first. So there's not a hell of a lot that I can do here as it slides down the hill. Eventually, I think I get it to stop, and so we do a little science. May as well try and get what we can from this. Crew reports. We're going to get him to do an EVA report. He's going to get out, and he's going to see what he can do. He's going to take all of the science out of the science bays, and so Bill plants a flag. The Mooner polls. Bill crashed. Oh, Bill. So he gets back into the ship, and he gets it sliding down the hill again, and he tries to flip it around. And eventually he flips it around and manages to flip the ship actually over. And so he hits the engines, pushes himself into the air, or up into the sky, and then pops it back down on the ground. And we're good. Time to get out those Kethane drills and start mining for Kethane, because we have very little fuel left. We need to fill up our fuel, fill up our Kethane, fill up our monopropellant, because we used a lot of monopropellant trying to flip the ship over. And hopefully we've got enough to get back to the station. And we did. We mined, and we got back to the station. And Bill brings the ship in. Getting closer and closer and closer as he does his little dance. And we're docking in daylight here. Well, that's great. So quick dock. Bill jumps out. Bill's going to jump out. Oh, no, they're going to clean the experiment base first. Now Bill's going to jump out, and he's going to give all the experimental stuff to Bob, who's going to bring it all back to Kerbin, because this mission is just turning into a disaster. It really is. We almost lost the ship. everything that could have gone wrong there went wrong. And it was almost a complete disaster. We were just lucky. Just lucky. So here comes Bob. He's heading back down to Kerman. He dumps his transfer stage, and this is where we almost had a huge accident. Now watch. Oops. And that is why I will never be in charge of a real space program. Okay, so even with all of this disaster, we did manage to get 870 odd signs. And so in the research laboratory, I'm trying to decide what I'm going to get and what I sort of need. So I figure I'm going to get probably specialized control, which there I got there. And I need more electrical stuff as well, because I was running out of electricity quite a lot. So I'm going to get advanced electrics and advanced landing. Hopefully I won't crash so much. Hopefully. So as I said, we've aborted the mission to the moon. So we're going to try something new. Because the lander, the Kethane lander, wasn't really working on the moon, I think it would work much better on Minmus. So I'm sending out my lab out to Minmus. I probably should have sent the lander out first, but, you know, I'm sending the lab out to Minmus. So setting up some Kerbal alarms there, and here comes the lander, also sending the lander out to Minmus. I must have sent them both out at the same time. Oh, I did. You can see them both there on their orbits to Minmus. And so this is where the Kerbal alarm clock really comes into its own, because I've got two ships on similar orbits. And obviously it worked, because now we're at Minmus. I plus lost some. I think I lost some video there, because I don't actually have any video of us arriving at Minmus. So there's the lab, the Science Orium, getting into orbit around Minmus. And next we're going to try a landing, I think. The Kethane lander. Choosing a nice little landing spot with some nice Kethane. I've been scanning for Kethane. And it's handling very, very nicely on Minmus, I must say. We're not using very much fuel. Light little amount of burning. We're coming down. We can see our shadow below us. And the sweet minty green of Minmus is coming up to meet us. Our lights are glistening across its icy surface. I can taste the ice cream from here. Here we go, and we're down safely. Bill starts running the whole experiments. Goo, Science Juniors, EVA reports, crew reports. And so he's pretty happy. He's managed to bring this down with no problems. No disasters this time. It's all working out pretty well. I can't actually read that. I'm terrible. And so he... classic Bill not able to get into the ship there as he bashed off the side and fell onto one of the engines. So he gets on and he grabs all the data from the science bays and gets back into the ship. It's been a tough mission. It almost ended in disaster, but I think we're back in the game. And as Bill starts to mine for Kethane, this is the old gaming geezer signing off. Until next time, good night.